Okay, John, real talk then here. Here's the thing. Okay, put this in framework. I got a reply probably because I'm being more arrogant and calling people stupid. And some of the traditional trolls are going to, they're attracted to that because arrogance precedes the fall. So as proof of that, I guess, Trevor Rieger, don't know if you're familiar with him, he has quite a history on YouTube, made a troll response to me, acting as a pro-Zimmerman Poe. I was kind of insulted by the just the trivial, obvious nature of it, that he obviously is not familiar with me if he thought I would go for that. But nevertheless, I told him, I said, look, dude, I recognize you. I couldn't quite place the name at first, but I knew who he was by the face. I remembered. I just couldn't quite remember the name. But somebody reminded me. I said, hey, I know this guy. Who is it? And but even prior to that, I sent I think it was prior to that, I sent a response to him, and I'm even like, hey, I won't even say it to you. I won't even have to tell it to you. But he gave no response. I'll play along to a certain degree, but I'm not going to lose the game or anything, you know. But I'll play, and I'll even play along. I sent you a similar message because you're always sending me these concern trolls, and you have to admit, half of them you admit you're just saying, and half of them, somebody be pissed about, is this science true? The reason I'm not pissed at you is because I take every single thing as a concern troll. I don't assume which side you're on. And then you come back with something like, and then you're talking to libertarians. It's like, oh, this looks like this is his real concern. And then you're talking to me, though, about that John thing. And it's like, look, if you're trolling me, okay, I said, let's play. Right? You have to be thick-skinned and stuff. A lot of people don't want to play. You could try being my ombudsman, too. But it's not a pleasant job. But it is important. But if you're serious, that's a real concern, then you need to read the exact comments, which I quoted them in full to you in your video. You decide not to do that, so I go, okay, he just wants to play. He's not really saying, because I told you I'm not going to play this game about math fails. I care about math fails. And his real life. I'm not convinced you do, John. But it doesn't matter. You don't have to. It's just, person on the internet. But that's the thing. The thing here, what I was telling you in that last video, okay, the real talk is that it doesn't matter to me which it is. I have methods that deal with both of those possibilities with you or anybody. That they might be sincere, that they might not be sincere, that they might be insincere, but there's a conscious grain of truth, or there's consciously insincere, but there's, all the permutations are actually possible. And having been online so long and having to do that, it's almost easier for me. I do that even with sane people, even with people I know they're not trolling, just because it's very similar. It's very related to the issues of what people are consciously saying and what they're unconsciously saying. Like, people pick out that 1 minute that they're going to argue with. That's generally not, conscious in my view. They do it unconsciously, but of course they're going through the video and saying, oh, this is the part, I'm consciously choosing this part. But why did they consciously choose that? Do they know they chose it because it was the easiest for them to get upset about, or it was the easiest for them to reply with something they have already figured out as a stock reply? Have they figured those things out? No, not usually. So that's usually unconscious. And yet generally people would think, no, what do you mean? I went through a video and I watched it and decided to take this part. So how do you even make those distinctions? Well, it's very similar to not knowing if someone's a troll or not knowing if their concern is real or intentional. It could be somebody else's real concern that isn't here, and they're carrying it, and so it's not their concern, but it's a real concern, and so forth. John is somewhat of a... Oh, I'm sorry, I'm talking first person. John, you're somewhat of an experienced concern troll. I have a feeling you've probably done all of those things. And it's partly self-preservation, so as to not reveal what you're really concerned about. Because, of course, if people know about you and what you really think, then they gain the advantage, don't they, John? So I really am telling you to self-select, because like if you're going to give me a concern troll about that John thing, it doesn't matter to me if you're trolling or not. And what I was warning you about is that I'm not going to go into deep things with people and waste my time on figuring out as much. I got kind of figured out as much as I need. I've had enough experience doing that in general. Things can happen naturally, but basically, I'm not going to carry it through to figure out which it is. I'll just make the idea look stupid if that's what it is, and we'll do it there. And I really am wondering what you're really thinking, because I don't want to affect your emotional state in a negative way. You act all the time like everything affects your emotional state. I know that's not true. So it makes me feel like, I don't have to worry about that. And at this point, you can't tell me whether I have to worry about it or not, because your words are not directly credible. They're more like poems. And so you're going to have to do it with your behavior. If you engage me, I'm assuming you're saying, I'm disclosing to you how it's going to be. If you engage me with those kinds of concern trolls, you know what to expect a little bit. On the other hand, you don't entirely know. Now, am I changing or not? I'm not really changing. I have held back how I really am, because I have been doing something. And that really is how I am, to hold back on projecting judgments, because I'm collecting information. And so is it really changing? You could call it a profound transformation, except for this is a video channel. This is sound and light and digital memory. This isn't my life. The transformation of this doesn't mean a transformation in my life, but it should, right? If I'm any kind of craftsman or artsman at any amateur level of any sort, and not high quality one, just at all, then I'm creating things. This is the creative side. So it should be linked to my life. I should be expressing things going on in my life. But I'm a relativist and a skeptic, and your epistemology is fucked up. So you don't even know what it really means to be this or be that or become this or become that or act like this or be considered as. You don't have the permutations. You just don't have the abstractions.